by Riverside.
Hello and welcome into TheSadFan, where we talk about the good, the bad, and everything that made you sad from the previous week in sports. So we had a week missing there because the national championship was not much to talk about. Michigan went in there and they shut down one of the most exciting offenses we've seen in a long, long time. They scored a lot of points and they did exactly what we thought. They ran the ball, and then ran the ball some more. Yet J.J. McCarthy, still a mystery to us all, appears to be a top 15 quarterback. He's slotted right now at 13 in the NFL draft. Penix has to enter because he's one of our super seniors, and I think we're in the final year of the super seniors. We had coaches just go everywhere over the last week, and then we had the NFL playoffs. So, Wes, go ahead. What was going on with Michael Penix this week?
Man, well, he just didn't seem himself during the game. He got his ass kicked, I think. I think he might have, hurt his shoulder or his ribs or something like that, but some of his deep passes just weren't on the target, and then Rome Odunze just wasn't catching his usual balls. He still made some really good catches, but they just didn't look the same. It's like they ran out of gas after the Texas game.
It's funny that you mentioned Rome Odunze because he trolled your favorite college football team, though not your alma mater.
On Twitter Spaces.
That. Yeah, it was hilarious because obviously Oregon went into freak out mode because Dan Lanning is mentioned in conjunction with the Alabama job. We're going to get to that in a minute. And everybody's freaking out, and Alabama's coming to get Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning, don't leave us like Mario did. Please don't go. Please don't go. And Rome Odunze drops into the Twitter Spaces and goes, if y'all don't stop complaining, I'm going to enter. I'm going to come back to school and make your lives hell again.
He said, they're like, man, they're like, so one of the Oregon fans, he was like, yo, so Rom, tell us straight up, are you entering the draft? And he's like, well, if you guys aren't nice to me, I'm going to come back for another year. And they're like, oh, man, please don't. You're catching everything.
Yeah, he was great. He's going to be a top 10 pick for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely the number 2 wide receiver behind Marv. I think he goes
going to be a top 3 pick.
Yeah, I think he goes top 5, top 6 or 7 for sure.
Yeah, if it's not 2 quarterbacks in the first 2 picks, it will be Marvin. And then definitely, he's not going to fall out of the top 5. He's not going to fall out of the top 5. That'd be shocking. A team will trade up to go get him. But yeah, that was really what we had from college football's national championship. It wasn't exciting. It wasn't a nail biter. Penix was not right for a majority of the end of the season, to be honest. If we're really looking at it, not making excuses, and we didn't for him throughout the end of the season. We were wondering why he wasn't playing quite as well. The playoffs came. He did what he had to do against Texas, made some throws into some tight windows. Just you can only keep that adrenaline rush going for so long.
Yeah. And then we got the coaching carousel. The coaching carousel of all coaching carousels.
But we have an in memoriam when it comes to coaches. We will start with Nick Saban, and we're going to leave college is always going to have this now every single year. You got Manny Diaz, you got Elko, you got David, or not David, Kalen DeBoer.
Kalen DeBoer.
What is it? DeBoer. You had someone go every single year. But in our coaching in memoriam, in honors of popcorn and beers and the Oscars, really quickly, Wes, before you really dig in, hold on. We'll mention Nick Saban in this list. We will mention Nick Saban with these people. But NFL hot seat action started very early this year. We had Las Vegas Raiders get rid of McDaniels, which everyone was clamoring for. I was calling for years ago. And it felt like years ago. I guess he only lasted a year and a half again. I guess that's his whole shtick. He goes to a team and lasts a year and a half. Then, in the middle of the year, we also had Frank Reich get fired from Carolina. Tennessee let go of Mike Vrabel. Los Angeles let go of Brandon Staley. Washington let go of Ron Rivera. Atlanta let go of Arthur Smith, whose last act as a head coach was to complain about having too many points scored on him. How Jameis Winston should not have scored again. Yeah, that's his final act as a head coach. The world will remember you for, hey, how dare you score so many points against me in my last game? Hey, Arthur, maybe that's why you got fired. Seattle lost a legend, the only one of these coaches that has won both a national championship in college and a Super Bowl in the NFL, in Pete Carroll. New England lost a 6-time Super Bowl champion in Bill Belichick. But wait, there's still more. The playoffs has led us to Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin said he's going to have a sit-down with his family and decide whether or not he'll be coming back to Pittsburgh. We'll see. Stay tuned. Dallas could be in the market for Bill Belichick, and Mike McCarthy was let go in our last one in memoriam. Though Adam Scheffler said he was safe tonight, whatever day this drops, Nick Sirianni got dragged by Baker Mayfield, and he could also be on the hot seat for the Eagles. Okay, Wes, go ahead. Go all the way back to college football because you really wanted to talk about that.
Well, so it was crazy because I didn't think Pete Carroll was going to get let go. I was like, I think he's got one more year because his contract ends in the end of next year. I was like, I think that's going to be it. They're going to move on from him after this year or after next year. And then we find out that he was let go. And then not even a few hours later, we find out Nick Saban was let go. And then like 12 hours later, Bill Belichick. We kind of knew Bill Belichick was going, but Nick Saban was a bomb that was dropped on everything. So we had the best NFL head coach, that I think the GOAT of college football, and then maybe one of the best up there with Jimmy Johnson for college/NFL. Like there's only three: Barry Switzer, Jimmy Johnson, and Pete Carroll that have won a national championship and a Super Bowl. So it's crazy. And the Nick Saban one, that was a bomb dropped on everything because you had Alabama players decommitting. You had Alabama players entering the transfer portal. And then, okay, so I knew they weren't going to take Dan Lanning. Are you kidding me? Dan Lanning, when he turned down the Texas A&M job, Texas A&M was like probably trying to throw like tens of millions at him. And he said no. And then we don't know how much Alabama is paying. It was some stupid reporter in Eugene who I guess used to work in Alabama. He was like, oh, well, my sources from my time at Alabama tell me that Dan Lanning's there. Dan Lanning was at home watching a freaking movie with his kid.
No, I read that Alabama flew to Oregon. That's what I read.
Well, so it was a Eugene reporter on the news, on the local news that said, well, my sources in Alabama are telling me that Dan Lanning is in Tuscaloosa right now. And that turned out to be a big fat lie. Yeah, he was literally, and they never even entertained him. They might have given him a call, and he basically told him to screw off. He was like, "I'm staying here."
I read that they were there. I read that they flew to Oregon.
They flew to Seattle. Dan Lanning was.
Is that where that flight landed? That flight landed in Seattle.
Dan Lanning never really entertained Alabama. There was never a chance that he was going to go. I think their their main target all along was Kalen DeBoer. I think the whole thing with Dan Lanning is because every time there's like a big job opens up, it's like, oh, the Oregon coach. And like, yeah, we had Willie Taggart, we had Mario Cristobal leave for their alums. But Dan Lanning, he turned it into a recruiting video. He's like, if you're scared that your coach is going to leave, come to Oregon because I'm not freaking leaving. And you know what? I believe him because if he turned down Texas A&M and Alabama, where else is he going to go? Maybe Georgia if Kirby Smart retires, but we got Dan Lanning for the long haul, and I'm excited because our recruiting class is awesome.
Dan Lanning had a great recruiting class. Yeah, he had a great recruiting class in offseason.
Yeah, we just picked up a 5-star wide receiver too, and I think we're going to grab UW's cornerback that just left. And UW got destroyed. After Kalen DeBoer left, they had a bunch of players leave into the transfer portal.
Whoa, where did Kalen DeBoer go? We haven't announced that yet.
Alabama. Everyone knows he went to Alabama, okay? So UW has 4 players left on their starting lineup from the national championship that are still there.
Yeah.
And they have 0 scholarship quarterbacks. Penix left for the NFL, and then the other 2 left for the transfer portal. They're cleaned out. Jed Fish. Yeah. So they hired Jed Fish from Arizona. He's going to have a hard time. It's going to be a rough first year.
Look what he did with Arizona. Arizona never has anyone. So he's right back where he started.
And Arizona's offensive coordinator is Pete Carroll's son, and he's coming with them to UW. So that'll be interesting. He can live with Papa Carroll.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be an exciting time still in college football. I mean, it's never going to go away because we're still waiting to see where the Jim Harbaugh dominoes fall.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh just interviewed for the Chargers.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So there's a possibility there. He's been linked to Las Vegas, but I think the Las Vegas is going to go with Antonio Pierce.
So
then you also had New England go with OJ Mayo, Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, that was smart. I mean, Jerry Mayo doesn't have like a huge resume, but they lined him up to be the head coach, and it was in his contract to be the next head coach. And I think that was smart to have a succession plan in place.
I'm surprised it wasn't Josh McDaniels, to be honest, but I think he destroyed that.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, nobody wants to play for him. That roly-poly-oly. That guy, he's so bad, and it's crazy because if he had just not come to Las Vegas, if he had just stayed in New England, he would probably be their head coach right now.
Probably.
But I don't see a world where that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's...
Except for the one where he joins the Las Vegas Raiders.
This is a crazy... this is probably the craziest offseason I can remember.
It's been fun. The one that shocked me was Tennessee. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, I didn't see Mike Vrabel going. He's been pretty good. He had one bad year, and that was it.
Yeah, he resurrected that franchise. He made them matter again. He helped Derrick Henry reclaim his career and became a Hall of Fame running back again. He helped, golly, what's his name? Why did his name just leave my brain? What's the quarterback there? Ryan Tannehill come back and resurrect his career. Sucks. There was so many... Okay, I'm not disagreeing with you. However, he was able to resurrect his career and get that big contract from Tennessee after replacing Marcus Mariota.
So one more thing on Harbaugh. There's a rumor that I heard is that he actually wouldn't mind staying at Michigan, but he wants in his contract extension to be that they can't fire him for cause for anything related to the investigation that's going on from the sign stealing this year.
Well, they wouldn't anyway. They wouldn't anyway. He's all Michigan all day. I don't think Michigan would fire Jim Harbaugh for any reason. If they could help it, they would keep him forever. They would lock him in the basement and make him coach till he's 180 years old. Michigan does not want to lose Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
All right, he's going to be there forever. He had terrible seasons. He had a terrible COVID year. That was bad. And he's still there. Yeah, he beat Ohio State, though, 3 times in a row.
How awesome is his dad, though? Jack Harbaugh throwing F-bombs on live TV.
And he looks exactly like him.
It's crazy.
He and his dad look exactly alike. Yeah. And then the whole Judge Judy thing was hilarious. Yeah, John too. But it's uncanny how much Jim looks like his father. Like it's so creepy. The chins, everything. And then, like I said, with Judge Judy, when they're both on Judge Judy, like laughing at whatever's going on Judge Judy, they have the same laugh. Like they're the same exact person.
It's pretty creepy.
Speaking of that, would you ever go on Judge Judy, Wes? Would you ever sit in the audience on Judge Judy?
They were
like one of the weirdest things.
Were they in the audience? Oh, what?
Yes. How did you miss this? It was like a viral clip.
What? Okay, now I gotta make a note to watch this. Harbaugh, Judge Judy. All right.
Yes. And I kind of think, I was like, would I ever do that? Like, I've been in a live studio taping of a TV show before, but I don't know if I'd be one in a game show or like something like that. I just don't know. And Judge Judy's kind of a game show, and he enjoys it. He enjoys
a legal game show.
Out of all the teams I mentioned, I'm going to tell you right now, Bill Belichick is definitely coaching next year, 100%.
Yeah,
because he's still behind Shula. Yeah, he's still behind Don Shula for the most wins by any head coach in NFL.
He's not giving up.
Where do you think
he doesn't give up?
Where do you think he's going to go? Where do you think he's going to go?
I want to see. He's got to go to a team that can like succeed. So I think it might be the Chargers or the Seahawks.
Chargers or the Seahawks. You know what team he's being heavily linked with right now?
Who?
Atlanta.
Really? Atlanta's not in a position to succeed right away, though.
Because the quarterback?
He's too old for a rebuild. And I feel like he wants like 2 more seasons to get like those like 15, 16 wins knocked out.
Yeah, I don't know that Atlanta's a rebuild, though. I don't know that Atlanta's a rebuild because all they are missing is a quarterback. They've got Drake London at wide receiver. They've got
I think he wants a team that has a quarterback or has a good.
They've got Bijan Robinson. You think he's gonna go to Los Angeles then?
Yeah, they got Herbert.
That's the best situation, but then they also have to pay Herbert, which means they have no salary for their salary cap.
I don't know. Either way, I think the Chargers end up with either Belichick or Harbaugh. I think they're in a great position.
What about Dallas for Bill Belichick?
I think Mike McCarthy stays.
Mike McCarthy sucks so bad.
Yeah.
I know you love head coaches, and I was fully expecting you to defend him there, but he's so bad, and he chokes in the playoffs every single year. He had Aaron Rodgers in his prime before all the YouTube got to Aaron Rodgers' brain, and he could only win one Super Bowl. So
yeah, he was only able to win
one
one
Super
Bowl, but he also gave the Seahawks freaking nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe that was just Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Mike McCarthy's bad necessarily, but I think he's gotten worse as a head coach. He's not the same as he was. And also, I think some of it's just the Dallas curse. God hates the Cowboys, just like God hates the Browns. That's why they both lost, being heavy favorites.
My favorite thing was
Buttholes
Cowboys fans. So of course I had to go to social media because they'd been so annoying leading up to this game. Cowboys fans have been so annoying, just nonstop. This is our year. You said that last year too. Oh, this is the best team in the NFL. You'll see, we're so great. We're going to the Super Bowl. And I had a friend that was like, "Oh, you're always thinking about." No, I never have a chance to stop thinking about you because you guys don't shut up. You don't ever shut up. You had Quincy Carter and thought you were going to the Super Bowl. Dallas is so high on its own supply. Like, they get off on having the 1-star rating on their helmet, and they continue to lose, and they continue to forget, like, hey, when you get to the playoffs, it's a different game. And they go out there and they lay an egg in that game every single year. It is one of the things that can be relied upon. It's one of the most reliable things in all of sports is the Cowboys will lose week 1. It happens.
I wish we did a show last week 80%. Because I would have said this because after because I watched the Packers game, their last regular season game, pretty intently against Chicago, because I was like, if they lose and we win, we're going to the playoffs. And I was watching Jordan Love, and I was like, this dude is going to be a franchise quarterback, and it's kind of bullshit that Green Bay gets 3 franchise quarterbacks like back to back to back. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm pretty sure they're going to kick the crap out of Dallas. I was like, because it's Dallas. They always lay an egg in the playoffs. And the Packers owned them. And I was like, this is a trap game for Dallas. They're done.
My favorite thing right now is you were going to get that take in no matter what about Jordan Love. And we forget, it was an up and down season. We have so much recency bias. And yes, he ended the season well, Wes. He did.
On
but
fire.
There was that whole middle portion of the season where he was god awful.
CJ Stroud had some god awful games too, but he looks amazing. You even said it. You were like, all right, I was wrong about Ohio State quarterbacks. CJ Stroud has proven me wrong.
I didn't say he's going to be an all-time legend, Wes.
I never did. Jordan Love. Franchise quarterback. That means someone that they could for like 10 years. Be a solid quarterback for 10 years. You compared him
to Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Okay.
Yeah.
Now that that's out of the way,
I'm not comparing them directly. Those are Hall of Famers. There's a difference between a franchise and a Hall of Famer. Jordan Love, he could be a Hall of Famer, but I'm telling you right now, he's going to be a franchise quarterback. He'll probably win a ring with Green Bay, as much as that makes me so angry because I'm tired of Green Bay having all this luck with quarterbacks. But I'm 100% certain he's going to be a good quarterback for at least like 10 years.
Okay, we're good. Have you finished your take yet? Am I allowed to go? CJ Stroud. I just said I didn't think he was going to be good in the NFL at all. And I said, yeah, I was wrong. He's good in the NFL. I have not said he's an all-timer. I have not said he's a franchise quarterback. I was just like, no, he's good. He's got it. He's a good quarterback, especially in that last playoff game. We'll see how he handles Baltimore. And I was wrong. He can play in the NFL. Jordan Love, all I said was, yeah, he's played really well these last like 6 or 7 games. And the rest is still unwritten. All right? That's just the way it is. I don't know if he's going to be great or not. He's had too many ups and downs. He ended the season on an all-timer streak for sure.
I'm giving you my Westradamus predictions here, okay?
I got that. Yeah. But Vince Young had a great rookie year too. How long did that last? There's going to be a lot of these. Justin Herbert looks great, but he hasn't done anything.
Well, that's because they have Brandon freaking Staley as a head coach.
I mean, we can make all the excuses we want for these quarterbacks, but the bottom line is very few succeed. Matt Flynn threw 5 touchdowns and got a giant contract from your Seattle Seahawks. And then he didn't do anything.
He didn't even start.
Yeah.
How many
didn't do anything for the Raiders or
did he
Seattle.
ever even start a full season? I don't think so.
You're talking about Matt Flynn?
Yeah. He never started a full season, did he?
I'll answer your question. He played the final game against the Lions, replacing Aaron Rodgers, threw 5 touchdowns and for like almost 400 yards in that game, and then got a giant contract from Seattle just based on that performance. So it happens. Like, quarterbacks will go out there and they'll throw a good season out there onto the books, and we'll fawn over them, and then they can be a backup quarterback for the rest of their career. Okay?
I'm just giving you my crystal ball.
I got you. I totally understand. But look what happened with now his name ran away from me. Who was the Vikings quarterback for the Minneapolis Miracle? Case Keenum. Look at Case Keenum. Case Keenum parlayed one great season with the Minnesota Vikings, one great season into 2 big long-term contract with the Denver Broncos that didn't work out, and now he's on the Texans, and he's been able to go back to his space like a backup quarterback. Quarterbacks will do this, and I keep trying to explain that to you, and I get it's your prediction, but
I hear you and I understand you, but I'm telling you, none of those guys were the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
Don't you politely argue with me. If you're going to argue, just argue. Don't polite argue with me.
Some sort of like magical voodoo that they can never have a bad starting quarterback. That's just the way it is. And I'm telling you, my crystal ball, he's going to be good.
So this couples therapy session that Wes just tried to engage me in. Let's move on to the other NFC East team, and let's talk about Philadelphia against Tampa today. What was that? What was that? The last 7 weeks are essentially what you just did, that fart noise popping off, right?
It was trash. I've never seen a meltdown like that. 10-1 to, what was it, 7-1? Or 1-7?
1-7.
That is all-time letdown.
And this was a beatdown. This is a bad game.
Like, the score wasn't that bad, but that's only because Philadelphia's defense decided to like actually play when they were in the red zone, and they limited it to like 3 field goals. But Baker was just walking all over him. It was disgusting.
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
Yeah, he was crushing them.
I went 5 for 6 this weekend, and that's only because I picked the Eagles.
Oh, they let me down. Trash them? They're going to trash them because they were in front of your.
So I thought, they were having a rough time, and I thought that their last game of the season they just like kind of sleptwalked through because they were like, all right, we're in the playoffs, whatever, and it doesn't really matter if we're the 5 seed or the 2 seed because we either play the Packers or we play the Buccaneers, and both of those teams are like mid. I thought they were going to win, but no.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield went Super Saiyan, and he destroyed them, and see you later. And I think Nick Sirianni gets another year because can you really fire a coach who went to the playoff 3 times in a row and took you to the Super Bowl in 3 seasons? So, I don't think so.
It's a fun stat, too, after this game. Baker Mayfield has 2 playoff wins now. Deshaun Watson has 1.
Good.
Have fun with
and
that.
I'm glad that made me so happy watching Cleveland get destroyed. And Flacco finally reverted to Flacco. 2 picks
he went
in a row.
Back to being Flacco.
2 drives in a row.
Just like Dak went back to being Dak in that game against in that game against the Packers.
It's all a circle. Everything comes full circle.
Comes back to balance.
Yep.
Comes all the way back to balance. The team I'm happiest for this week, the Lions. The Lions went out there and they did what they had to do. They won that game. And it was funny because the funniest thing from this is all the women right now are posting the memes of Eminem being like, oh my God, it's ruining the game. They keep showing him on television. I can't hardly watch anymore. Why are you mad about that? I think it's hilarious. It's hilarious because it's so
real,
true.
Man. Like, I like how Eminem's just in the crowd. Like, sure, he probably has, like, first seats, but he's not in a box suite like Taylor Swift. Get out here, Swifties.
He was in a box when they showed him. He was in a box when they showed him.
During the game, he was out in the he was in the fans. Or he was in the stands.
Why are you so mad at Taylor Swift? I think this is so funny.
She's annoying.
She is a Chiefs fan. She's a Chiefs fan now.
She's annoying.
Why?
Okay, she's annoying. I'm tired of seeing her face on TV. I'm here to watch football, not freaking listen to Taylor Swift fans talk about.
This is so funny.
Taylor Swift.
They're not.
I'm
Aren't you more mad at the
on TV?
Why wouldn't you be more mad at the production team than Taylor Swift? It's not her fault they keep showing her. She's just at the game.
Stop going to games. Watch it on TV.
She has a right to the game just like everyone else, Wes. She has a right to the game just like every single other person.
What is
Her
this?
man's brother, I think, is retiring. I think that we're getting the Jason Kelsey announcement that
You think Jason Kelsey's
retiring.
He did.
There's
kind
all
have
kinds of
look
stuff on social media
during the Eagles game.
Go
I
ahead.
wouldn't be surprised. He's a vet. He's been around for a long time, and yeah, you could see when he took off his helmet, he's like gray beard now. Dude's getting a lot of gray. But if it is, then so long.
He got his ring, and
Did.
Patrick Mahomes has 2 rings. And one of the most iconic things I've ever seen, and I think this is going to be a photo forever, was what happened in that Chiefs-Dolphins game. It was so cold that the helmets were rock hard. And you know what happens to plastic in ice-cold, rock-hard temperatures?
It shatters.
That was one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
Yeah. I thought that was his mouth guard.
Shattering.
I thought it was his mouth guard. I was like, oh, that was a big hit. And then they showed his helmet. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
They didn't even realize. Yeah. He didn't even notice for like...
Wes used to have an old Chevy Cavalier that the bumper fell off. And when Patrick Mahomes was walking around with that helmet on, it reminded me of that old Chevy Cavalier with the bumper hanging up.
Jesus. Why you gotta go there?
That's a deep cut. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, that was a big hit. And yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a helmet crack like that. And they didn't even notice for like, I think 2 plays or something. And then one of the refs was like, wait, hold on, get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he had a
helmet on.
Yeah. I think the first one was too big. And then the one that he wore for the rest of the game was too small.
It's just wild how freezing cold that game was. And then on to the final game we're going to talk about, that Bills game. That game almost didn't happen if it wasn't for the fans. The fans came out and made that game happen so that they could take on the Steelers.
Yeah. They were paying fans $20 to shovel seats in the morning.
Yep.
And
in the
so,
field the night before.
Yeah, and it's kind of in a neighborhood area. It's not like in downtown like a lot of stadiums are. So they had a ton of people that came out. So it's kind of cool. But speaking of fans, some of those fans at the Chiefs game were freaking crazy. There were a few fans shirtless. And like by the end of the game, their skin was as red as the Chiefs jerseys. I was like, dude, you need to go to a hospital, bro. You have hypothermia.
Nipples are permanently erect. Permanently erect nipples. The one thing that I think will be remembered from this Bills-Steelers game is that Josh Allen run at the very beginning of the game in the first quarter.
53 yards?
Yeah, and he ran through Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of the best safeties in the NFL. And
I can tell.
Thinks that the Steelers thought he was going to give himself up, and that's why he was.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, part of me is like, the defense, like when they're looking or like when they're kind of like angling themselves to go out of bounds, the defense is so afraid of getting a late hit that they ease up, and it's so easy for the quarterback just to cut in, especially if they're not guarding that edge and just like go straight into the end zone. I've seen that several times this year, and that was another one of them.
Yeah, life's not fair for a defensive player. So really quick, we've got about 3 minutes left in the show. You've got the Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans. Who do you think takes that game?
Ravens, but I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think the Ravens are done blowing people out.
They're done blowing people out? It ends now.
But I still think they win.
Okay. And then you got 49ers Packers also on Saturday.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers pull the upset.
I think the 49ers big. I think 49ers big at home.
I think the 49ers pull it out, but I think it's going to be a tough game. There were a lot of blowouts this week. I think it's going to be the opposite in divisional round. I think there's going to be a lot of tight games.
I am excited to see Matt LaFleur against Shanahan. I think that that's going to be fun. I think that it's going to be a match of the minds, but we'll see how it goes. I do think 49ers big in that game. Lions, Buccaneers. Lions get their second playoff game of these playoffs.
Lions all the way. I am rooting for the Lions every step. I hope they win the Super Bowl. They deserve it.
They get their second home playoff game, which is just phenomenal.
So
they
awesome.
put on a show in that first home playoff game. They are treating it like they've never been there. Do not tell them to act like they've been there, because they haven't. So
I was at the Seahawks Lions playoff game like 7-8 years ago, like the one time they made the wild card, and I felt bad because I was like, man, they haven't been here in so long, and we just won a Super Bowl a few years ago, and we just knocked them out. I felt bad about it.
And then finally, the game of the weekend. The game of the weekend, Wes. Chiefs, Bills. And this time the Chiefs are going to Buffalo.
I'm so sick of the Chiefs. And I'm so tired of Pat Mahomes being the new Tom Brady. He gets all the calls. Every time he gets even brushed against his helmet, or anything, he always gets roughing the passer. So I'm going Bills. I hope the Bills cream them. I'm so tired of the Chiefs.
And we heard how you feel about Taylor Swift.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, if the Chiefs lose, that's another game I don't have to see Taylor.
It's so aggressive. I don't mind. Her music's great. She's great. Her clothes, her clothing choices are great. That jacket was awesome. So I don't know. But this vendetta, maybe we'll talk about it more next week. Maybe we won't. We'll see where it goes. I am out next week. Wes will be in with Josh. So we will see how those shenanigans go. Hopefully Wes is prepared to take that one on. I don't know what this face is that you're making. As always,
Swiftie until today. This is disgusting, and I don't know if I'm going to continue on this show with a Swiftie.
Anyways, we thank you for joining us each and every week. Remember, you can reach us at TheSadFan12 and the SadFan Cast, the SadFan Podcast Network on YouTube. Probably shouldn't do that without context as we're signing off on this show. He was doing that to me as a Taylor Swift fan, not the show. Thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next week.